Welcome to another episode of Meet the Village, the program that features brief yet interesting interviews with residents here in Alegria Village. Now, this broadcast will again feature the introduction of 3 new neighbors. Today you will be first introduced to Lucy Rurik. Now, Lucy is one of our international residents. In the second half of this presentation, you will meet the Albrights, Billy and Larry. For now, let's get back to Lucy. Lucy is a resident in Parkview Terrace, and she now calls her first floor apartment PT 114 her new home. And see, I almost put you on the 4th floor with me. We've set it off right. Yeah, I want to put you on the 4th. PT 114 is her new name. I therefore give a big welcome to Lucy. Welcome for being here, and thank you for appearing on Meet the Village. It is a pleasure to have us join you. Shall we get started here?
Okay.
Sounds good to me. Since I've already mentioned that you are one of our international residents, let's begin at the beginning. Now tell us where you were born.
I was born, good morning. I was born in Poland, in a town called Szczecin, which is the northwest part of Poland. It's around 100 kilometers from Baltic and the same distance from Germany. It's one of the biggest, probably 5th or 6th city in Poland. It has the shipyard that was famous for, and the technical schools and industry.
Shipyard. Now, what type of ships did it build?
Commercial, big ships.
Tankers and that sort of thing?
I think so, too.
Okay, terrific. And you said it was an educational center. Was there a university there?
There were few universities. There was the Polytechnical school, which is Polytechnica, and a lot of different schools.
Okay. Now, before we leave Poland, let's talk about your family, starting with your husband. What was his name?
My husband's name was Mieczysław Andrzej Rurek, and he was born in Poland, in Szczecin too. And
where did you meet?
We met in the scouting group. So we were together in that and volunteering and enjoying that.
Is this back in Szczecin?
That was back in Szczecin, yeah.
Okay. And what kind of occupation did he have?
He was tool and die maker, and he finished technical school too.
Okay. Now, did you work, or did you have a career or trade?
I finished technical school, the 5-year technical school with the telecommunication. And after I finished school, we got married, and I got pregnant really quickly, and then have my first daughter, and then 1.5 years later, I have another daughter.
What are their names?
My oldest daughter name is Ewelina, and my younger daughter name is Małgorzata.
Aren't all these new sounds so very, very interesting? I'm Polish, and I've a Polish descent, excuse me, and have never heard a lot of this. This is just wonderful. Okay, please tell our audience what happens next. You're in Poland, you have a family. What happened?
In 1980, that was a big fight against the communist government, and it was in Gdańsk, which was opposite in northeast part of Poland, and in Szczecin. And then after that, we decided in 1981 to leave Poland. We knew about the refugee camp in Austria, so in August in 81 we left Poland.
Oh, tell us what that all involved. There's a backstory there.
The backstory is that at that time the government most of the time didn't give the passport to the whole family. So we told the government that we are going for the 2 weeks vacation in Austria, but in order to get the whole family, all of us, the passport, we need to pay the bribe under the table.
Yeah, the bribe. That was so common.
So we pay, and we got the passport, and we went straight from Szczecin to Kraków, and from Kraków we went straight to Vienna. And in Vienna, in Getzendorf, they have the camp, so we went directly over there. They took our passport at the time. And after a few months in Getzendorf, they moved us in the middle of the Gmunden in Austria, which is kind of in the high mountains and we stay in Austria in refugee camp for the 1 year, more than 1 year. And you have the interview where you tell them where you want to go, and people were choosing different countries. Most of the people came to US. There are some people that went to Australia. There were some people who went to South Africa and Canada.
Okay. I want to back up just a little bit. What happened in Austria?
In Austria, my son was born. His name is Patrick. And there is another story with that, because the first time we have the approval and we have passport, refugee passport, and he was in on our passport, my passport. But when we went to the airport, the Austrian said that because he was born in Austria, he's the Austrian citizen. So we need to go back to the refugee camp. Then my husband went back to Vienna with him, so have the approval from U.S. Embassy, and we went back to the airport.
Otherwise, you would have been smuggling an Austrian citizen out of the country.
One thing they told us when we were first time in the airport, that we can go, but
baby has to stay.
Babies need to stay for the right passport. And by the way, we'll send him to you. And I look at them. It's like, wait, you want me to have 2-month-old baby left behind? No.
Well, evidently it all worked out, and all of you got to the States. And what year was that?
This was we came to New York on September 1st, 1982. And we were sponsored by the Catholic Church here in Detroit.
In Detroit. So you went from New York.
And the next day
did you fly or drive, or how did you get there?
We were flying from New York to Detroit, and then in Detroit there was the lady that owned the motel on Greshot, and she was Polish, and at that time that's where they located us. So we stayed in that motel for less than a month and met some Polish people that were helping us, and we moved to the apartment in Fraser. One of the lady that was helping us was Mrs. Henryka Sokół. She was a very interesting person. She finished Polytechnical School in Lwów before World War II. Then they took the whole family from Lwów to Siberia, and she joined the Polish army in Siberia. She went with the Polish army through the Middle East and to Italy. She was a captain in the army. And then after World War II, from England, she came to U.S.
And you were lucky enough to get her as someone to soften your route here, so you could,
She was helping us to, how to adjust our living
assimilate,
here. She helped with Evelyn start school a few weeks after we came here. So she didn't know English when she started the first grade. The school in Fraser allowed one of the children from the apartment to talk to her, and they were talking during the class, and Sean was teaching Evelyn English. So, but after the first grade, Evelyn was enough to study and did good in school.
You had children. They started school where?
They was in Fraser, and then
they weren't all going to school, but did one of them start early? Or?
Yeah, Evelyn started right away. Then Margaret, luckily, she was kind of 5 years old at the time. So because she was born in December, they recommended that we'll hold her for the next year, school year. So that's what we did. And then they were studying. They
Okay,
were-
that
and-
sounds great. And Patrick must have been just
But just he
a
was
little
few
one.
months old baby, and the one thing that people, like
Yeah.
Mrs. Soku told us that the first thing we really should do is learn English.
Right.
So after more than a year, we decided that my husband was going to this adult education center to learn English. And we decided I will go to Macomb Community College, and they have English as second language. And then, because it's easier to get job, and '82 was recession here, so it was hard to find the jobs. At that time, we decided that it will be better if I have the degree and I have the diploma from here. So we decided that I will go for the associate degree in electronics here. So I started the first few classes. I was lucky because one of the professor recommended that I will go and talk to the counselor. And they said because I have good grades, will be better for me if I do the first 2 years, the general education and community college, and then transfer to university
Which was?
with the Lawrence Tech.
She's moving right up. Lawrence Tech. Can your kid get into Lawrence Tech? Please continue.
And then I got to Lawrence Tech, and I finished a bachelor degree in electrical engineering. When I was in my third year, my husband has a massive heart attack, and he passed away.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So it was,
That's when you have an adjustment upon adjustment.
Yeah,
That's not easy.
I was very scared. I lost my ground, but luckily I have enough people around me to support me, and I finished
Terrific.
my degree. And then when I graduated in '91, this was still recession here. It was
tight.
kind of slow to find a job. Luckily, I found a job in the small automation company that was run by Polish people.
Oh, you Poles all stick together, let me
you can
tell you.
always find. It took me 6 months to get the job. I called them every week, and finally they decided that I'm too stubborn and
Not going to go away.
I will not go away. So finally I got the job. And then after 1 year to move another company, and then it took me 4 years, and I finally got the job at Ford Motor Company.
One of the biggies. So now you're in.
So
Okay.
I was lucky. I have almost 25 years with Ford Motor Company, and then 2018 I retired.
Sounds good. Sounds
So
good.
it was a good company to work. I think I did good job over there. And
Yeah,
I
I'm sure you
enjoy,
did.
and
I'm sure
it
you
was
did.
very, very interesting.
Okay, let's talk about your children a little bit. Now, you pronounce it differently. I've got down Margaret. What's she up to?
Małgorzata, my younger daughter, she graduated from U of D in architect. He's an architect. And then my oldest daughter, Evelyn, graduated from Auckland University with electrical engineering degree, psychology, and minor in English. My son, Patrick, he graduated from ITT at the time and in IT.
In IT.
So he's working. Evelyn right now is working for the Ashley Furniture Division in Vietnam. The last 3 years she's in Vietnam running. She's a director running over there the 4 plants. Margaret, 2 years ago, her and her husband decided to move from Chicago, and they moved to Virginia. They have the farm right now, so she's
Bought a farm?
They bought a farm, and I am very impressed.
How many acres?
There are 40 acres over there.
That's
So-
real work, taking care of 40 acres.
So they are planning, they have chicken right now, they have ducks,
Terrific.
and they're planting fruits and vegetables, fruit tree. So I am very impressed what she's doing.
I'm impressed with all three of your children. They're doing
And
very,
Patrick is working with the Panera Bread. He's IT network manager.
Oh,
so
IT man. Oh, at Panera Bread. Isn't that an interesting combination? I wonder
So-
how smart their bread really is.
So I have the private IT.
Yes, at first
Support.
service, absolutely.
So
That's
I am very
fantastic.
happy. I
yeah.
am very happy with my children. I am very proud. I am very
You
lucky.
have every right to do. Let's shift gears a little bit now. Where were you living before you came here to Alegria Village?
After 1 year living in Fraser in the apartment, we were lucky and we bought a house in Sterling Heights.
Oh, okay.
There is a corner, kind of the Polish corner you can call, and 15 and the Quinder. And we
Oh,
were
15 and the Quinder, yeah.
15 and a half and the Quinder. You have the Polish market, you have a Polish culture center, you have a Polish credit union, Polish medical center. So and then 18 and the Quinder, you have the Polish church, Our Lady of Częstochowa. So it's a lot of Polish people that came in 80s, kind of live in Sterling Heights, Troy, and Rochester.
Right, right. Okay, how did you discover us? What brought you to Alegria Village?
2 years ago, I have a friend that is running kind of very active in the Dearborn Senior Center, Dearborn Heights Senior Center. And they organized a tour of this Allegra place. So I came with them and I saw the place and I like it. But in December last year, I got very sick.
Oh,
I felt and I was hospitalized for 5 days. My magnesium went very low.
oh, that's not good.
My muscles that affect your muscles, and so right now,
Did you have pain with that too?
yeah, it was extreme pain, and I
Okay.
could not move. So after the rehab, I talked to my children, and my girls came and I told them that I think I am ready to, that a house is too much for me, and I am ready to move. So they came here, they saw the place, and right away they were like,
Your
okay.
children are in,
Yeah.
yes, taking over?
They took over because I was 2 weeks. So
Well,
they
yes,
kind
considering you were sick, I agree.
they came here, they look and they said this is a great place because it has a lot of activities. They like the ledge that people come and
the safety.
check. Yeah, the safety. So they like the idea that someone is checking on me every day. And they like the idea that, you know, all of these activities so I can be involved. And they like the physical therapy, they like the doctor. So I am right now going
Everything.
2 weeks, twice a week to physical therapy, and Bill is helping me a lot. So I hope that kind of there was the attraction that kind of decided that this is the place for me right now.
Wow, so glad to have you. Now tell me, how did the move-in go? Were there any problems?
We didn't, you know, luckily.
Or you didn't deal with it?
At that point, the girls took over. They organized everything. They organized, they packed me. They have the movers moving me here. They move all the stuff. So, and Margaret stayed with me for a few days here to help the basic stuff to move. And I'm probably 80%.
80%. Well, that was going to be my next question. So you've got a home for about 80% of your...
Yeah. So I still has some boxes too. So it's take time, and you know, with the physical therapy and the doctor here, I'm getting my strength back, which I need a little more, and then that's helping.
Okay. Now, have you been meeting lots of residents and things, beginning to form a little group of your own?
Yeah, going.
How's that going?
Going to the dining room, everyone is very nice here. That's one of the things that Margaret noticed when she was visiting here, that everyone say hi, everyone is kind of smiling and very pleasant. So going to the dining room, people are inviting me to the table, and I listen to their story and they listen to my story.
Okay, now what about the food?
The whole idea of having the dinner and being able to come and not worry about, and that's what my children like it too, that they know that every day at least I will, how that doesn't matter how sick or I am, I will have a one day a meal. The dinners are really good. People are, inviting you to the table and talk, and so that's very nice.
Okay. Another time we'll get together and discuss the quality of the Polish food served here, but not now. Because everyone has a different comment. Because it's, because mother isn't making it. That's the problem. Okay. Do you have any last comments or anything about anything at all you'd like to make before we sign off?
I like the living here. I enjoy the, even if the weather is bad, I can still walk inside and you have all the fitness center, the pool, and people are just nice, and I am enjoying meeting everyone.
No, well, I'm so pleased. I'm glad you're happy here. If you have any friends, tell them about this place. So, good. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a pleasant experience getting to know you and all your stories about Poland. That is just great. I was there, but only for 4 days. You don't get the complete feeling for 4 days. So that was but the home of my grandparents. I know where their family farm was, and that's another story. I am sure that many in our audience have stories about their heritage as well. I
met some people that visit Poland too from here, so that's nice to know.
Yeah, terrific. Again, I'm giving you an official welcome aboard. This has been such a pleasant experience getting to know someone who came from what was the ancestral home of many of our grandparents. I'm sure that many of our audience feel the same as I do. And you, our TV audience, as stated earlier, this is only the first of our 2 interviews, so please stay with us. Up next, you will be introduced to the Albrights. Remember, each one of us has a story to tell. We'll be back in a flash.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back, audience. I'm so pleased that you decided to stay with us. Now, in part 2 of today's program, we meet Billy and Larry Albright. The couple's new home is in Parkview Terrace. PT 108 is what they call home. Well, welcome to Meet the Village, Billy and Larry. Shall we begin?
Sure.
Why not? Okay, your story is a bit different. Now, what was this trial run of provision that you experienced here at Alegria Village, and what made it necessary for you to tread this path?
Well, we had 2 homes, a place in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and a place in Phoenix, Arizona, and we were snowbirds. And so we had sold our place in Michigan, and there was no way we were going to spend a summer in Arizona. No.
Way too hot.
Yeah. So Larry had this brainstorm. He says, hey, we've been visiting Allegra, looking at them. Well, I wonder if they would give us a trial run. So he called and he spoke with Cheryl Sims, and she says, oh, I'm sure we can work something out. So we showed up on June 17th that year and left September 12th.
Okay.
And loved it, and told her, find us the place that we like and we'll be back.
Oh, that sounds good. So 2 homes.
Yes, we had, yes.
One in Michigan and one in Arizona.
Yes.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense to me. But let's back up here a little bit. Billy, let's start with you. Where are you from originally?
Actually, I grew up just up the road. I lived on Woodmont between Plymouth and Greenfield, off of Plymouth between Southfield and Greenfield.
Right.
And I went to Cody High School.
How was it in so large a high school? Did you get all lost in the big numbers and everything?
Yes, it was overwhelming, to say the least. I came from a small little grade school in a small little community, and now it was overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
Yes.
You make any friends?
Yeah, some. I stuck to leaving school and going to church activities and things
Okay.
like that, and I belonged to other groups outside.
Okay, well, that works well instead of trying to break into that big cosmopolitan
yeah.
entity.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Larry, how about you? Where are you from?
Well, I was born here in Detroit. In fact, we were born in the same hospital, Mount Carmel.
Oh.
That's what it was called back then. And, but from year 4 on, I grew up in Hamburg, Michigan.
And where is Hamburg?
Hamburg is between Brighton and Whitmore Lake,
Okay, fine.
off of 36.
And where did you go to high school?
Well, I went to high school in Howell. Our area or district or whatever you call those didn't have a high school. They sent some kids to Ann Arbor, some kids to Howell, and some kids to Pinckney. And Howell was the one I ended up with.
Okay.
And there was in our graduating class 153
Okay.
students. But being that far away, I don't know the exact mileage or anything, but being that far away, I wasn't as involved with the high school as you would normally expect with sports.
No, that makes perfect
things
sense.
like
yeah.
that. But I was happy. But
That's
what I
the
had, I
important
was.
thing. You need to grow up happy.
Yeah.
Okay, where did life take you once out of high school? Let's start with you, Billy.
Well, while I was in high school, I was working at Fisher Shoe Stores on Plymouth Road, and so I stayed there after I graduated and went to some college, and then from there I went to Michigan Bell.
Okay, well, let's hold off and just
Okay.
find, because you've got Michigan Bell. That's a good start.
Okay.
And you, Larry, where was your first adventure right out of
First
the...
adventure, it was suggested I go into the Navy. And that's why I went. And enjoyed that.
Okay, how long? I can talk Navy speak.
Okay.
Now, okay, how long were you in the Navy?
I was in there for 4 years, straight towards the Cuban Missile Crisis was going on about that time,
Okay.
the early 60s. And I ended up in Puerto Rico on a naval air base. And really enjoyed that,
Okay.
different things.
Okay, now what did you do when you were in the Navy? What's your MO, your job? What were you trained to do?
Overall was a medic, but I had specialty training in surgery and was a surgical technician. In other words, we made the packs up for each individual's type of surgery and cleaned the instruments, set up the operating room, whatever was necessary to help. We even helped with the surgery sometimes as far as assisting the doctor.
Oh, yes, doing exactly what you were told.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Had some
yeah.
delivery was extra duty was delivery room and emergency room. Had to cover those during when you had your special duty.
Okay, sounds good. And you were in for 3 years. What rate? How high did you get?
HM3,
HM.
hospital in 3rd class.
Yeah. Okay, so petty officer. Yeah, moving up the ranks. Okay, sounds good to me. Okay, let's get back to you, Billy. What was going on at your time? You finished up at the shoe store and you said something about Michigan Bell.
Okay, and then I left. I started with the key punching and everything there, and then I went to Ford Motor Company. And
Key punching. Tell us, what
key
is key
punching.
punching?
That was kind of like a typewriter, but you're putting holes in a card, and then it goes into computers. And that was back in the day where the computing room was so big and the big floor with all the wires underneath it and everything.
Sounds like
8-inch
old.
Well, that,
diskettes?
yeah, that was not, yeah. The 8-inch diskettes come when I went to work then for the University of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into the Wang, got involved with Wang, and we
You
started
better
out-
tell our audience what Wang is.
Wang-
I didn't know the
oh.
first time you mentioned it.
Wang was like the beginning of word processing.
That I
It was a
understand.
computing system. And then they had list processing and that. But anyhow, they had 8-inch discs. And it didn't hold a whole lot of information on them. And then we went down to a little bit smaller discs.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, I was able to train people on that eventually when I went to computing over at U of M.
Okay. So what did you do at Ford specifically?
I started key punching there too.
yeah, but
yeah.
I mean, what
Oh,
kind
it-
of documents were you handling?
It
what
was
department?
It was in the credit company.
okay.
Yeah, part of it, and it was like when people got loans for their cars and that kind of thing.
Okay. And I happen to know you worked at Ford until your son was born, but I suspect after a little while you went back to work. Tell us about that.
Well, I went back to just a place that did Ford work
Oh, okay.
because, well, they were shipping it out, the work at that
Okay.
point. And I was working there, and then we moved to Howell,
Okay.
and I worked at the county clerk's office.
Aha.
Yes, that was exciting. I was in charge of births, deaths, marriage, the vital records, and also sat in on the concealed weapons board.
Okay. 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 Now I happen to know you moved on after that, so tell our audience about you starting to move into the education realm.
Then I moved down to Ypsilanti, and I went to University of Michigan, and that's when I worked at the registrar's office, and that's when the Wang started, and then I went from there to the computing, and from the computing, I was all over the place. I left there to go work for the actual Wang. And we bought and sold computing equipment all over the United States. So I would work with them and sometimes travel and go and teach classes or whatever.
Well, so you're a teacher. Then I understand at U of M you were a supervisor, setting up systems and
Yes,
teaching. Was that students or some other realm within the university?
No, it was
staff.
staff.
Okay.
Yes, it was with the Wangs and stuff like that. I would go to different departments setting up the systems and that type of thing.
Okay. And so you did all that with Wang. Okay. And then, I know there's one more leap for you. Let's take care of that.
Well, I left. Well, then I went to the place where we bought and sold the Wang equipment, and then I came back, and I went to College of Pharmacy and started in fundraising there, and because of the Wang, but then they left Wang and went to Blackbaud, and Blackbaud was a program for fundraising,
Yeah.
and then that led me on to EMU Foundation.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yes,
You've had such a
it was-
varied work life. You're really an experienced individual.
Yeah.
Maybe we can find some work for you around here. Although I don't think there's much call for key punching.
I don't
anymore.
think so.
Okay,
I don't think so.
She's had her time. Let's get back to you, Larry. You deserve a certain amount of time too. You were out of the Navy, and
I worked in a local hospital for a little while, and then I realized that wasn't for me. Working on healthy people in the service was a lot different than on the outside, and plus it was before pagers and cell phones and things like
pagers.
that.
Does anyone
so,
have a pager anymore?
Yeah, even that's history.
Right.
But so I ended up in the automotive industry at Detroit Gasket in Belding, Michigan.
And where was that?
Belding,
Okay.
Michigan, up by Ionia. And
where?
extrusion presses. I ran some extrusion presses and ended up in the lab because of my education with metrics and things like that. So I ended up working in the lab and for a while, and
Okay.
I ended up at Hoover Ball Bearing, south of Ann Arbor, by the airport,
Oh, okay.
and worked with them until Nippon Seco bought them out,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up with General Motors in Ypsilanti. Worked in the plant that made the B-24s, and worked there for 27 years
Okay.
as a tool maker.
Okay. And then what happened in the 1980s?
Oh, well, I'd gone to a Parents Without Partners meeting, and
Oh, I know I'm not there yet.
not there yet.
Something about computer science.
Oh,
yeah.
well, yeah. While I was at GM, we had opportunities to study and stuff like that, and so I went in the early stages of computing, back when there were 16K machines.
Oh,
and
gee.
things like
Isn't that unreal?
And yeah, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoyed it quite a bit and learned how to program and things like that. Back when DOS was in its early stages, and went on to develop a bidding and tracking system for GM. Steering committee there appreciated it, or
Sure.
was interested in the offer, because we had a very antiquated old system of tracking jobs, and when you have hundreds and perhaps even thousands of
Oh,
jobs,
absolutely.
it was very difficult to find the job you were looking for.
Yeah, doing all that data gathering manually must have just taken hours and hours and hours. Okay, did you ever retire?
Yes, I sure did.
And then
I
what
couldn't
did
get
you
out of there
do?
fast enough. I was looking forward to retirement.
Okay. Well, I have got here Arizona bound to play golf.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll hear a little bit about that coming right up. Okay, now the plot thickens. When did you two people meet? I think that's where you were going when I wanted to back up a little bit.
Yeah, it's up to you.
It was a Parents Without Partners dance, and that's single parents that have children, obviously. So anyhow, I go and I'm with a friend, and we got there early because it was free if you got there early, and that was back in the days when you could smoke. And so anyhow, I saw him sitting at the end of the table, and he looked kind of interesting, you know. So then a couple gals came in and sat right down next to us and started smoking. And oh, got to get away from this, you know. So I walked down to the end of the table and I stuck my hand out and I said, "You look like you need someone to talk to."
I'm going to remember that line.
She hasn't stopped talking since.
Oh, you have to ruin a good story. How unkind.
no,
how
I'm not
unkind.
complaining.
No.
Yeah.
And so, well, do we hear Sinatra's version as the second time around being played in the background?
Well, that was the end of June, and we went up and met my Aunt Mill, and that was, she insisted that don't let him go. So anyhow, we got married on December 18th, and Aunt Mill had the key to the church, and she had everything all figured out with the family.
Okay, now I understand there are some children. You better explain how this all happened. Whoever wants to take that.
I had 3 from a previous marriage, and they were all basically adults,
Okay.
16 on up when
Well,
Billy
that
and
makes
I
things
met.
easier.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. And one of the children died, and my daughter Diane died in oh gosh, 87.
Oh, that's sad.
And yeah, it was a tough time.
Yeah, very tough.
Tough
I
time.
can't imagine it happening. I really can't. And you, Billy? Children?
I have a son and a daughter, and the son was off at college then, and the daughter was at home, and she was 10th grade. And anyhow, when Pop asked to get married and stuff. And I said, no, not till you graduate, because I didn't want any confusion in the house and stuff. And she says, Mom, no, he is good.
We've got child approval. You go with the flow.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yeah.
so then she calls her brother, and he's screaming over the phone, and it was neat.
Okay. Oh, I think that sounds absolutely great. I
was.
just love
Yeah,
it.
yes.
I got one line here I just can't resist saying. She says, Billy said, I had a string of admirers,
Oh,
even
yeah.
with two children from a first marriage. Now that's confidence. Ladies, that is confidence.
Well, what it was is I was laid off from one of the jobs, and so it was in the summer, and I don't know, but all of a sudden all these guys started coming out of the woodwork,
No.
and it was
Where do you
great.
buy your wood?
Yeah,
I suggest they install it here.
and it was funny because the kids had to make some changes for me and stuff.
Okay, well,
White
fun.
flowers.
Yeah.
but it all came together.
Yes, it
Everything
did.
just
Yes, it
came
did.
together beautifully. Okay, now you're all retired and everything. What made you consider senior living?
Arizona. We went down there for my mother's 80th birthday, and unfortunately she died just before that. But that was a senior community down there, and all you had to be was 55 plus. And of course, we fit the bill, and enjoyed senior community and whatnot. And I can't imagine any other way of being in retirement without being in a senior community. This place is wonderful.
Oh well, we could go on with that.
Yeah, we
What
sure
do you
could.
like about Allegria?
Well, the community. This is a community. It's not just a place to live. There's plenty of opportunities to volunteer, and there's plenty of opportunities for entertainment. We've got good entertainment, excellent food, no problem with the food, and staff wonderful, very attentive to
Have you had
our
any
needs.
trouble meeting people? You two with
Oh,
these bubbling personalities, I doubt it.
No.
No, easy to make friends here.
And I think that people should actually move in sooner than they really think, because you get to know people better, than just coming in when you're older and don't wanna-
Incapacitated, too.
Yeah, and don't want to engage in stuff, and you will already have some friends.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Okay, did you get the apartment you wanted, and how did the move-in go?
Yes, we did. We got the call from Cheryl, and she says, I've got your apartment. And we said, okay. We're in Arizona. It was before Easter. So we said, well, let's go for Easter and check it out. And so we flew back for Easter and said, this is it.
Okay.
And then we didn't move in till June, because we had to go back and sell the Arizona house and move. And
All
pick
those
up.
things take time. They
Yes.
really do.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
kids were very helpful too.
Yeah. Were there any negatives, either with the move-in or other little problems throughout the transition?
Not really. I mean, it was like the water wasn't turned on the wash machine. Big deal. They came and fixed it.
Okay.
That was really, I mean, my gosh, no, there was no problems.
Well, I personally don't know how you handle that buzzer at the end of the
Oh.
hall there.
Well,
that is just beyond me.
Well, at night we shut the door to the hallway and the door to the bathroom, and we can't hear it.
Oh, that's good. At least you can sleep
No,
at night.
yeah. During the day now we hear it, but it's gotten now so we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
It's like a
there's-
train.
This has to do with the fire alarm or something there. And I guess when you do something with one of the doors, it turns that buzzer on. It's not the screech of the alarm, but just a constant buzzing sound
yes.
that is really annoying.
Larry's learning how to turn it off.
Oh, you'll see he's a skilled craftsman, so yes, I'm
Yes.
sure he'll do that very, very well. Okay, are you involved in any of the activities around here? Volunteered for anything or anything like that?
Well, I am in the SO group, which
Okay.
we desperately need help.
Okay, you
If
feel
the-
free to.
If there's anybody out there that will help us, we would love it. It's the first and third Wednesday of the month, at 2 o'clock in the crafts room.
Okay, now we have a lot of new people watching too. Tell them what the sew group does.
The sew group is basically shortening pants, or doing a little bit of sewing or whatever that you might have, and we do our best that we can.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Okay, but what? There's
Yep.
something in addition.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything else
Well,
to
we
this?
we do the recycling.
That's a big chore.
Yes.
Every Wednesday.
On Wednesday morning.
What
Yep,
floors
we're up
do you
there.
do?
We do PT 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Yeah. But then Larry, he picked up a new job.
Oh,
Oh, what's that?
I'm working in the medical supply room, treasure chest supply room,
Okay. Oh.
medical, and
Oh, you're the Navy veteran we heard about
So-
who's now working in that. Because the notice came out, but it didn't give names for each of the person.
okay.
Yeah, so you're down there now. All right. His
And
name is Larry Albright. Is that-
Looks like a good place
Yes.
to help.
Okay. I got something here about pass along partners. Which one of you's involved in that?
Oh,
Well, that's kind of pass along partners, I think, is what you put it
Yeah.
down.
From one leg to the other?
We're helping.
they're interconnected with
Yeah.
so many things here.
Yeah,
Pass along
the
partners.
transfer people.
is a big
We will
deal.
take your
Yeah.
stuff and find a new home for it. Yeah, that's very worthwhile too. Is there any other activity that you might become involved in the future? Are you swimmers or golfers? What about the golf simulator?
I haven't tried it yet.
You haven't tried it yet.
I quit playing golf a few years ago when COVID hit. So
Okay. All righty. Now, we're going to be coming to a close here quite quickly. Do you have any comments at all that you'd like to add before we go ahead and do that?
We're happy here.
Well,
and-
that's important.
Yeah.
Happy campers.
Yeah, and we're located. We see everybody coming and going.
Oh, you sure do,
Yes.
especially if you're out on the patio.
Yes, and we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to nice,
Being out-
pleasant weather, I'm
yes,
sure.
yes.
You know, Michigan is one of those places, if you don't like the weather, just hang around. It'll change in an hour.
Yes,
It
yes.
really do.
Yes.
Okay. Billy, Larry, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for sharing our story. We are so pleased, really pleased, that you chose Allegria Village as your retirement home. I officially say, welcome aboard.
Thank
Okay.
you. We're happy
glad
to be here.
All right. And you, our audience, I told you it'd be worthwhile to stay with us. Yes, everyone does have a story to tell. For Community Television, I'm Michaeline Larson.